This is the big story, and this is where we get to have deep conversations on issues crucial to us shape our nation and our economy. And today we turn our focus on persistent insecurity in Abuja, especially the one chance situation and how it's affecting national growth and productivity. Now, this conversation will give us some details on the root cause, the effects, and also preferred solutions, which will enable us to tackle this menace that we are currently facing, especially in Abuja. My name is Elizabeth Musa, and it's a pleasure to have you join me on the show today, Mr. Joshua Bassi.
Good morning, Elizabeth.
Good morning. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
And also we have joining us on virtually, we've got Mr. Anthony Aileman. He is the assistant news editor for Business Day, and he reports from our Abuja office. Welcome to the show, Mr. Anthony.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
It's good to see you again, Mr. Anthony.
Thank you. I'm grateful. Thank you. Good morning, viewers.
Good morning. Now, for several years, Abuja, the nation's capital, has been under the heavy burden of attacks by one-chance predators who harass and dispose of unsuspecting citizens of their valuables. Now, in some recent and extreme cases, residents of the FCT have lost their lives while resisting the robbers who lure their victims into vehicles in the guise of providing transportation for the citizens. Now, to help us understand this, of course, is why I have this amazing gentleman who will be speaking to us this morning. They will be helping us to, throw more light, especially Mr. Anthony, who is resident in Abuja. He'll be talking to us about what the security agencies, especially Nigeria Police, have been doing to check this situation and this criminal situation. So let me start by asking Mr. Anthony this question. Is this how much of a recent development is this? How long has this been going on for in the FCT?
Okay, thank you very much. It's been something that has been on for several years. In fact, as old as the creation of FCT itself. When the Federal Capital Territory was created, there were a lot of issues around public transport system, which were not effectively addressed at that particular time. And so what has happened is that you now had people, criminals, as it were, who take advantage of the poor public transport system to scam unsuspecting citizens. How do they operate? They use vehicles that are basically unmarked. When I say unmarked, in FCT you have some vehicles that are painted green and white. Sometimes with the kind of insufficiency of this number of vehicles, some people use their own private vehicles to pick up passengers. Now, when they lure their passengers into their vehicle, the passengers are provided with seats. They enter into the vehicle, believing that these are genuine transporters that are going to take them to their destination. So once the victim enters their vehicle, they allow the victim to sit down at the edge of the seat, so that they can, once they complete the activities, that is, dispossessing the victim of everything that he or she has, phones, cash, whatever, other values, including electronics, laptops, iPads, or whatever it is. They now push the person out of the vehicle, moving vehicle. In some instances, just like you rightly observed, some have lost their lives because once they are pushed out, if there are other vehicles coming from behind, can easily overrun the victim, or where the victim is a bit lucky to survive. They usually survive with bruises and all manner of injuries. So this has been going on for several years. But the police, once in a while, also devise certain actions to counter what they are doing. And but the truth of the matter is been on for a very long time.
Mr. Joshua, let me come to you by asking you. I know you are here with us in Lagos, but what would you say is fueling this criminality? I mean, when we talk about one chances, what, in your opinion, do you think might be fueling the spate and the increase of it in the Federal Capital Territory?
Okay, thanks, Elizabeth. Maybe I should just start by saying that perhaps it's not only in Abuja that we have this, criminal gang, engaging in this very terrible criminal activity. We also have it in Lagos, but perhaps in recent years, that of Lagos has not been as pronounced as we have it in Abuja. I recall in 2008, I was a victim myself. And I was going home, and unfortunately, I entered their bus. I never knew they were the ones until they got to along the Lagos-Badagry Express Road, quite close to after Alakija bus stop, just as we were nearing Finaja. I mean, that was when it dawned on me that these were the guys, and of course, they dispossessed me of my valuable land. But I was lucky. I was the first person to jump out. But of course, they hit me with the butt of the gun. But I was lucky until I found an Okada guy who then picked me and took me back to Alakija, from where I enter bus and move. But coming to what is fueling it, I want to believe it's basically desperation. People want to make money when they have not even put in the hard work. They get rich, syndrome, which is what is
pervasive in our society.
In our society today. I think basically that's it. People have not put in the work, but they want to make money. You have not planted anything, but you want to harvest from where you did not plant. So it's that criminal mindset that is driving a youth, driving people. Of course, some of them are not good anyway. That's driving people into it. It is something that the society should actually look into, to say that, look, if you do not work, even the Bible says that he who does not work should not eat. So you shouldn't, hope to eat when you are not working or when you are not putting up enough work. So basically, it's been driven by greed. We want to get rich overnight without working. Perhaps again, we might also look at the fact that there is unemployment. Perhaps not all of them who are into it may really want to go into it. Some may just be because they have nothing doing. They just, okay, how do I survive? So the need for survival may also be one of the things that is driving people into it. But there's no justification for that. It doesn't matter how tough it might be in terms of you not having a job. You should still look for something legal to do rather than they take to criminality. Yeah, so
absolutely. Let me bring Mr. Anthony in now. Maybe like Mr. Joshua, you probably have your personal experiences. I don't know, but how have the security agencies been tackling this in Abuja?
Mr. Joshua has said there are certain factors that drives this particular criminality across various states. I'm sure it's not only, like you said, restricted to Abuja and Lagos. There could be other areas. But first of all, let's look at Abuja. Abuja has a unique problem. And what's the problem? Abuja does not have an efficient public transport system. So most people are forced to rely on private sector operators, who provide vehicles to move people from the rural area councils down to the city centers And within the city centers itself, unlike Lagos, where you have the BRT and you can easily enter these buses from Oshodi to wherever you are going to, whether in the mainland or in the island, it is much easier. But in the FCT, we don't have such luxury. So you are now forced to use public transport, to patronize private vehicle operators. And that has also made it very difficult because some of these vehicles, they have their glasses tinted, and so shield the criminals from the activities that are going on inside their vehicles while they are moving. So people really, even when you are being tormented in a vehicle, you are being dispossessed, it's difficult for outsiders to immediately know what is going on in the vehicle until the victim is pushed out of the vehicle. And police also have tried, because in cases, before now it used to be a daily occurrence, but what they have done is the introduction of this prohibition of tinted glass cars. That is, you are no longer allowed to tint your glass. So it's part of they discovered that this is one of the ways that the criminals use to, carry out the activities. And so they had to come up with this idea that let all cars that, especially that are not tinted right from the factory, get the tinted glasses out. Then secondly, they have also come up with the ideas of ensuring that vehicles within the FCT, if you are running commercial activities up until about a year or so ago, it was much easier to control them because of before the increase in transport, before the withdrawal of petroleum subsidies that led to increase in price of petrol, and therefore very fewer public transport, private sector operators could put their vehicles on the road. So what they have done now is commercial vehicles must be properly marked. They are painted green and white, and they also have numbers inscribed on the body of the vehicle, so that in case you are robbed or you are a victim, once you can identify, because they went to public sensitization though, that before you enter a taxi, try and look at the taxi very well, identify the numbers on the taxis, look at the color, look at the plate number, and look at the number also written on the body, because they allocate each vehicles with numbers. That is where you have registered your vehicle as a commercial operator. Now, for those that do kabu kabu, that is the private sector, the private car owners who use those vehicles to create problems, this is where the challenges lie. It is difficult for you to just identify now which one is genuine and which one is not genuine. So the police themselves also carry out regular, because of the need to ensure that passengers are safe. Generally, people are safe within the city. They deploy their men to strategic places, and where you get such alert, if there is a case of one chance that is reported, they act quickly, and they have succeeded in arresting and busting so many of these syndicates. A case in point was the one that they did recently, where a man and a woman who were using a bus to carry out one chance activities were caught, and by God's grace, the passengers or the victims that they wanted to rob were rescued. So there are other issues too that the government, I'm sure they're trying to do. The introduction of the rail system has also helped, but it is not sufficient yet. So these are the things that they have done to reduce the incidence of one chance in the FCT.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony, because you've just answered the next question I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you about, if there have been any prosecutions whatsoever, like in respect to this, but I think you've already done justice to answer that question. But if you were to offer us any sort of advice, I mean, for residents to avoid this criminal situation of one chance, what would be your advice?
Thank you very much. From the public enlightenment activities of the Nigerian police, they've been telling people, be careful the kind of vehicles you patronize. For instance, it's easier now to get Uber and other registered transport system to, provide you with means of movement. You can call. Once you call and the number is registered, you are aware of where the driver is coming from, where the vehicle is coming from. So it's easier to avoid such problems with such registered service providers in the transport sector. Secondly, commuters have also been advised, do not enter vehicles that you are not sure of, especially when the vehicles are tinted glasses. Don't enter. Even when you discover that the vehicles are filled up with passengers, maybe there's only one chance left. that's the way, in fact, that's where the word comes from. There's only one chance that is left in this vehicle. So you are the one occupying that last chance.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
so
interesting.
You see, they would have made sure that all the other seats are filled up. So the only chance left is that one chance that they are giving you to, occupy. So you are advised not to patronize such vehicles. You also be sure that if you shall tax their numbers, if possible, call somebody. I'm in so taxi while you are there, and I am going to so place. Now, the moment the driver and other people within the vehicle say that you have put on notice that this is where you are, and you have also given them the number of the vehicle that you are taking, of course, that would be a check or whatever kind of ill intentions they may have towards that person. So these are the issues. These are the ways you can check. Of recent, the Abuja, the FCT transport system, they've tried to increase the number of buses on the street, especially with this introduction of the CNG. But ultimately, like I said, they are not enough. So we just hope and pray that within the FCT, a more efficient public transport system will come on board. Because with such like the BRT that you have in Lagos, if we're able to develop that, something like that or similar in FCT, it will go a long way to reduce the incidence of one chance. And I must give it to the police. The new IG has done a lot to ensure that Abuja is safer now for residents. But like I said, they need to do more, especially at night, towards evening. I have had a personal experience where I was seriously attacked at about 6:30 in the evening along the airport road. So but the city needs to be more policed, especially in the evenings. The criminals watch out for where the police are, and they monitor their deployments also. They avoid those places where the police are and then go to places that are under policed. And of course, you also know that one of the challenges we have in the FCT is the issue of we don't have, probably because of lack of efficient power system, cameras are not strategically placed and they are not working. So these cameras need to work, you understand? So that it will be easier. Like if you travel out of the country, you discover that light is 24 hours and cameras are everywhere. So you can't scam easily and get away with it. So I think this is exactly where we need to get to ensure that the city is safer for all our sundry.
Very insightful, Mr. Anthony. I mean, for one, I never even knew how the terminology one chance came about. But, you know, someone might be wondering also, so yeah, there is the people, so the idea behind it being called one chance is if it's one, there's just one space left, one seat left, and then you enter it, and that's how they do their criminal acts. But you know, they are devising smarter ways these days. There are people that now know that, you know, people already know that trick, because you know, like people want to enter into a private vehicle and then you see that it's just one chance left, and you're like, no, who are these people? And then they, you know, people look sometimes and say, oh, they're all men, I'm not entering, or they're men and women, but it's just me. So they've, you know, they've devised newer tricks now. So it might not be one chance again. There might be two chances. But you know, Mr. Anthony, I want to, Mr. Joshua rather, I would like to hear your own contributions to how people can avoid, you know, being victims of one chance vehicles.
Okay, so just like Anthony said, maybe I should, you know, before actually going to that, let me also say that there are things that Anthony has talked about that are lacking in the FCT. He talked about, you know, CCTV cameras that are there. Some are not there at all. Some are not even working. We talked about the need for efficient public transportation system so that people will not, you know, move to using a private vehicle, which is what these guys are actually using. So now, again, you know, because since the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Tunji Diso, resumed at the FCT, he's done a lot. I mean, I've seen so much he has done, many measures that he has put in place to check these people. And so what this means is that there's a possibility that as the FCT police command is putting measures in place to check them, the possibility of them moving to another state is very much there. And so without waiting for them to come, I believe that there's the need for other state police commands to begin to put measures in place. Don't wait until you begin to see that, oh, these guys have come, and then, so before they arrive in your states, I'm talking now, I'm talking for the various commissioner of police across the state, take measures, put measures in place so that they won't come, because they know that there are measures already put in place. So that would scare them, that would check them. And so that eventually when they come, it will be easier for you to check, detect where they are, and then they take them out, you know. But like he said about how passengers or residents can avoid, you know, falling victims of one chance. Yeah. So, like he said, if you see a vehicle that is parked and they are calling people in, be very wary. Don't just enter, because make sure that, because my experience, you know, in 2008, like I said, was that I wanted to enter, but the guy was sitting by the door, stepped out, and allowed me to enter. You know, we do this a lot in Lagos State. In Lagos, generally, we want to enter, but someone will say, okay, I don't want to go inside. You do come inside.
So by the window.
But I want to sit by the door. So when you see such a thing, just be wary. You may choose to walk away and enter another bus because it might just be them. Though, like I said, they are not prevalent in Lagos right now. But then people still need to be careful. You still need to watch out to see that they are not the one before you enter. Again, there's also the need, like he said, for you to enter a bus. In Lagos, for instance, we have the yellow buses. These are the buses that are marked for commercial operation. So if you may want to avoid entering any bus that is not that Lagos commercial color, the yellow with the red stripe, on the body, those are the buses that the Lagos State government has approved to carry out commercial operation. So you may want to avoid anyone that is not yellow and that with the black stripe. Of course, again, for those who are using their cars to do kabu, just be careful. Don't just, because I also notice a lot of time people just trying to flag down vehicles that you don't know who is there, you don't know who is driving it, and you are just waving the vehicle to give you a ride. Why not avoid that ride, that free ride that may would end your life, or could you end up being thrown on Third Mainland Bridge and things like that? Again, why do you want to enter a bus that is or a car that is tinted? You can just avoid that because you never can tell. Because if you enter a car is tinted, whatever is being done to you inside the car, people outside may not know. So it's better to avoid entering any car that is tinted. It's also good that the police are also thinking of stopping tinted, or again for vehicles that are tinted, so the police won't say, oh, you can't even. There are some vehicles that are tinted from factory, because sometimes the police want to take advantage of some of these things to begin to stop people. There are some vehicles that are tinted right from factory before they even push out. So there's really no need for. But again, I know that there's a measure that police took some time ago, which they later stopped. Maybe they might just need to go back to it to say that if you are going to use a tinted glass, you come and get approval.
Tint permit.
Yeah, tint permit. Before you can use it. So such measure by the police will also help. Because they would have taken the details of your vehicle. They know you, and so if anything happens, it's easier to trace. You understand? So those are some of the things I think the police should do on one hand, and people can also take precaution for their own safety, and they don't just enter a bus or don't just enter a private vehicle that you really don't know who's driving it. Just be wary. And somebody want to enter a bus and somebody is telling you, "Oh, come inside." Just it's okay. Am I safe? You want to be careful before you just jump in. So those are some of the things I would say will help people to avoid becoming victims of these criminal gangs that are operating here and there.
Thank you, Mr. Joshua. Mr. Anthony, I wonder if you have anything to add to what Mr. Josh had just said now.
Yeah, I said it all. I said it all. The truth of the matter is that FCT is growing. It is growing at the rate of 5% annually. So, of course, obviously, what that means is that investors in public transport sectors that may want to come in to do business have very unique opportunities to, exploit the opportunities of the ever-growing population of the FCT. And again, FCT is very unique in the north now, because if you look at all the northern states, because of the violent terrorism that is going on across all the states in the north, FCT seems to be the relatively safest environment for a lot of people. So there is a little influx of people from across the other 19 states of the north into FCT to find safe havens. The same way genuine citizens, innocent citizens are coming to the city, so also criminals are also coming into the city. So the police need to be very vigilant and be proactive. I think these are the things that we need to do, because enough of reactionary or reactive, approach to issues. Don't always react. Why don't you be proactive? Why don't you create all the necessary what the institutions or capabilities to enable you to, halt these problems before they begin to occur. Just like he said, in other states, yes, it's a lesson for other states where people from FCT, by the time they are eventually dislodged from here, they may want to practice their trade elsewhere. So I'm sure that with what has been said here, putting them into use and practice will help a lot to create a safer environment for the citizen.
Thank you. Any final thought on this, Mr. Josh?
Yeah, it's just to again re-emphasize that state police command out beyond the FCT. And if Lagos, because I know that Lagos is equally relatively peaceful compared to other states. So don't wait. It's just to re-emphasize the need for the police commissioners across the states to make sure that measures are put in place such that you don't wait for these guys to come to your state and begin to carry out this criminal activity before you want to go check and want to go arrest them. Put measures in place such that even before they think of coming, they already know, that place won't be safe for me. Or even eventually if they come, they won't have to pray for too long before you take them out. Again, beyond even the police command, the state government, various cities across the country, the issue of CCTV camera is also very important. Make sure that these things are strategically located in places across this, especially the state capitals, the city centers. So there's need for the state government to work and then to support the state government to support the security agencies, because in some states you hear the police talking about lamenting the absence of strong support, logistical support, funding support. I know that yes, the police is the institution of the federal government, but of course states should also support them to be able to carry out their job effectively, because at the end of the day, whether you are living in the FCT, whether you are living in Lagos, whether you are living in the Imo, whether you are living in Edo, or whether you are living in Nasarawa, anywhere, at the end of the day, what's important is that Nigerians and residents in Nigeria should feel safe, because in any case, that is the major role of the government, to ensure the maximum welfare, safety of citizens. So the police, the state government should collaborate with the police, support them, support other security agencies to be able to effectively monitor and ensure that Nigerians and those who are also living in Nigeria, who are actually not Nigerian, feel safe wherever they may be in Nigeria. That's what is important. That's what we want. That's what we want to see. So those are the things that we want the state government and of course the police and other security agencies to do. Collaboration. I mean, if you, for instance, what do they do? Safety defense, right? What do they call them now? National security defense.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So they should work with the police. The Navy should work with the police. The Army should work. We just need this collaborative effort amongst and between the various security agencies. Work together to ensure that we are safe. Nigerians are safe. Yeah, that's what it sounds.
Oh, well, that's as much as we can take today on the program on Big Story. It's always important to have these conversations, and we'll be back to follow up on this issue. But thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us and your submissions today on the morning show. Thank you very much. Stay tuned as we bring you more updates on BDTV. My name is Elizabeth Musa.